But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence.
The U.S. government thinks that you shouldn't have the right to go out there and read news that you think is factual. The U.S. government thinks that the First Amendment is blocking them, as stated by John Kerry here, I think it was yesterday. And he thinks that that is getting in the way of forcing you to believe what the U.S. government is telling you. How dare you go out there and go to a website that you think is factual? How dare you not obey the U.S. government? How dare you go out there and buy yourself some Bitcoin rather than investing in U.S. bonds or whatever else the U.S. government is trying to push you? And here we can see the attack by John Kerry, the ex-Secretary of State. And by the way, he was the nominee for the Democratic president of 2004, and he lost to George Bush in that election. So this is not some nobody. This is a pretty high-ranking individual in the Democratic Party. And you can see here how he absolutely despises the Constitution. They're supposed to be taking an oath for the Constitution, especially the president. If he would have won that election, he would have been the president of the United States. And here you can see how he could have been the president, hates the Constitution. And today's video, we're going to be talking about how the U.S. government actually hates the Constitution, how it's attacking the Constitution, and how Bitcoin can help save you, save your wealth, preserve it for you, so you can stay safe out there, basically. Stay safe, because the enemy here is, in most countries, the number one enemy is actually the government that is there to, in quotation marks, protect you. But it's actually just to force you to believe what it wants you to believe. So if you guys are interested in this, hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and go to Crypto LLC if you're looking to build data center, buy some miners, host, build a farm, all that good stuff. And before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, so today, walking around just out on the streets here, still in Washington State, for another week, and then I'm out of here. So next videos are all going to be from Florida. Not next ones, but in a week. I'll show you guys around here. Just walking around. It's a little windy, so hopefully you guys can hear me good on the microphone. All right, so today we're going to read, first of all, I'm going to read the First Amendment to remind everybody what the First Amendment is. First Amendment provides that Congress makes no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting its free exercise. It protects freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Okay, so here we can see it protects freedom of speech, the press, religion. So here's the question for John Kerry. If the First Amendment is blocking you, you can say, well, I'm not trying to block the First Amendment, it's blocking me. It's well, you should be happy about that. It's the way he's talking about how it's blocking me, he's saying it in a negative way. He's saying, I wish I could be a dictator, but the First Amendment is not allowing me to be one. I wish I could force everyone in the U.S. government to bow down to the government, right? I wish I could force everyone to do as told, to read only approved magazines, articles, websites. I wish I could be a North Korea, but I can't be one. Oh, dang it. I really wish so. It sucks. That's basically the attitude John Kerry is giving here. And then on top of that, he's saying that this misinformation out there, these misinformation articles, websites, they're getting, it's who's deciding that it's misinformation? Is John Kerry deciding? I mean, who's he to decide? Because from my perspective, everything the U.S. government says is misinformation, right? Everything the U.S. government says is a lie. Basically, practically all of it. So if we're talking about misinformation, that would be, number one, criminal in that would be the U.S. government. They're the ones that have all their misinformation. You guys remember all those things that happened in the past, 20 years, the housing crisis. Who caused the housing crisis of 2008? Oh, it's these greedy people. They were buying all these homes. It's like, well, who was approving their loans? Who wrote the laws for that? The government did. So when those people couldn't pay for their homes, whose fault was that? He said, well, it's their fault. They should not have got. They would have never got the loan if you didn't write the regulations where they could get a house without being qualified for it. So the government is the reason why that happened. And then you go down the list. Okay, next issue. It could be like the war in Iraq. What was that based on? Well, that was based on a big fat lie that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? Okay, well, how many Americans died in that? It was like 3, 4, 5,000 died? How many Iraqis died? I think it was over 1 million. So 1 million plus people were killed because the U.S. government lied, right? They just lied to your face and said, oh yeah, he has weapons of mass destruction. What about Libya? One of the most prosperous countries in Africa. And Munar, I think his name is, Gaddafi, was murdered by ISIS, which the U.S. government sponsors. So, again, more death and destruction based on a lie. Same thing, you can go move down to the Serbia war, the Korean war, the Gulf of Tonkin. You just go down the list, you can see a lot of these wars were orchestrated, created by the U.S. government to profit big companies, to make as much money as possible. And you can see that repeating itself again with the war in Ukraine, right? Same exact scenario, same exact situation. It's all about profits. It's all about maximizing profits for the shareholders, for the heads of these companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon, and so on. And so the government doesn't want you to read articles talking about how that's wrong. The government doesn't want that. The government wants you to be like, no, it's justified, right? The war in Ukraine is justified. So we need to buy more weapons so we can pump up those numbers on the stock market and so on. They want you to believe that because that way you don't go out there protesting about how the war needs to stop. And their train keeps going. The gravy train of free cash keeps pumping out, even though the body count's going up. So that's what the U.S. government does. And one of the ways you can protect yourself from that whole entire, I don't even know what to call it, like a situation, I guess, a whole entire corrupt regime. One way to protect yourself from that is to get yourself some Bitcoins, because the government can come around and if they don't like you, they can just take your home, say that you didn't pay taxes for it or whatever, you didn't pay your property tax or whatever else they'll make up. They could take that. They can seize your bank account if they don't like you, North Korea style, Soviet Union style, just take whatever they want. Might as well just come to the conclusion that America is basically almost at the Soviet Union state. So you want to protect yourself, you have Bitcoin. They can't take it. You keep it off of the exchanges. You keep it on your private wallet. Can't be hacked, can't be frozen, can't be taken, untouchable. It's yours. And that's what we do here at Crypto LLC, is we build data centers for clients, have them run their own data center, and having that hard asset for yourself and protect yourself from the U.S. government. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys like it. Until next time. Bye-bye.